looking at a man. Or am I bound to sail alone, drowning in my sin? Get right or get left, what will it be? Time is running out, the blood is flowing down the street.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Loot Bros Podcast. I'm your host, Resident Darrell, and on this week's episode, my good friend Dan Evans from the Godfo universe is back. He and I jump into a great conversation, kind of bouncing all over the place. We talk about some games. We talk about some just stuff all over the place. So it's a real good time. It's a good time. So before we get into it, a handful of announcements, some things I want to throw at you guys. First off, the Patreon is back. It is live. For those of you who decide to continue to support on the Patreon, for those of you who continue to decide, or if this is your first time listening to Loot Bros, maybe you're new to the show and you're like, hey, you guys got a Patreon, I want to be a part of it. Nothing's changed. So I kind of went back and forth on just the nature and how I wanted to do things for the Patreon. The tiers haven't changed. There's a $1 tier, $5, $10, $25. All the tiers are the same. The only thing that really changed is the format in which I'm doing the shows. So the first episode that is available right now for the month of December is what used to be the Super Loot Bros podcast, which ended up just becoming the Resident Darrell podcast because I did it by myself every month. It's back. And I do my predictions for the Game Awards. So this episode that you're going to hear today is going to be me and Dan. We actually recorded this a few weeks ago, had to do some shuffling on the release schedule. So some of the things we talk about might have already happened. Maybe we spoke into the future and we announced some things that were going to happen and then they did. Maybe we allude to some things. Maybe we think we're all going to die before the episode drops. And in fact, here we are, still here. So yes, we recorded this 2 weeks ago. So this conversation will still be good. Everything in there should be good and evergreen and fun. But the Patreon special, the exclusive, the Game Awards prediction show is up. Now, it's twofold. The episode is kind of split into two parts. So I do give my predictions on the Game Awards, and the Game Awards have already happened, so you can kind of see how I did, and I will adhere to the old punishment rules. So whenever we record the next episode, which should be, if everything works out right, me and JP, Joe Priestley, Mr. Team NT84, getting back together to record this next episode. We will announce the punishment and what has to happen with that one. So half of the episode is Game Awards. The other half is a farewell to Jimmy Ryan. So during the Game Awards, there was a farewell party, or the week of the Game Awards. It wasn't the exact time of the Game Awards. It was a farewell party for our good old worldwide franchise, Jimmy Ryan, he who makes us whole, as he has continued to serve PlayStation faithfully all the way up until the new regime takes over next year. And so I did want to dispel some of the rumors that people were saying that he was getting canned. He was being forced to retire. You don't have a retirement party and you don't get celebrated. You don't get custom PS5s made and cookies with your face on it saying, thank you, Jim, for making this the most profitable time in PlayStation history. If you're fired. I'm just sorry, guys. I hate to break it to you. That's not how it works. So Jimmy Ryan's getting some love, and I have a little segment dedicated to Jimmy Ryan. It's fun. It's a fun time. So I just want to throw that out there, guys. The Patreon is back up. If you are interested, please go forth and enjoy. So for those of you guys who are just curious kind of how Patreon works, let me move my microphone real fast. I think I need to adjust it. It's kind of slowly falling as I talk. So Patreon is where we do extra content. There are multiple tiers. There's a $1 tier where you get an extra episode, sometimes 2 or 3 episodes, of any of the content that I create here on the Loot Bros. So there's a special episode, usually an hour topical episode. Then there's the $5 tier, which is our deep dive. And so what I'll do is I'll do reviews. A lot of times the things that I'm pledged to play, or in this case, pledged to watch, are on the deep dive tier. So the next deep dive going live, which will be recorded this week, is going to be Godzilla -1. Really, really excited to talk with my buddy Josh Adams about Godzilla -1. If you guys are thinking about it, maybe you just heard, maybe you didn't realize that Godzilla -1 was the thing that's in the theaters right now. Go see it. Go see it. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to say the rest for the deep dive. So yes, that deep dive will be going live this week. Super excited about that one. Then there is the producer tier, where each and every week as we celebrate, whether it's on Patreon, whether it's off Patreon, we always crack a toast to our Patreon producers, those of you guys who support us. And then, of course, you get all the tiers before that. And then the $25 tier is still the pledge tier. I will be taking the pledges. This time it's just me. I ended up doing the majority of them anyways. So I think it's a fun time, and I don't expect everyone to rush out and pledge. So it exists if you want to participate. If not, that is all good. Every single episode that I drop each and every week on the main feed also goes to Patreon. So if you're one of those people who's like, I don't want to do the Patreon because then I'm going to have a Patreon feed and then I'm going to have to figure this out. It's all can be published anywhere you listen to your podcast, and Spotify now allows Patreon integration. So if you want to head to the Patreon, you want to get on at the $1 tier to get the extra episodes each and every month, you can have it plug right into your Spotify and nothing changes for you. Because it seems like Spotify is the dominant place where people are listening to the Loot Bros podcast now. So you can also plug into your Apple Podcasts. I'm still old school. I still do Apple Podcasts for the majority of the things that I listen to, and all of my Patreon content that I pay for goes to my Apple Podcast. That's the way I have it routed. So also, I want to give a couple shout outs real quick and maybe a little bit of plugs. If any of you guys are interested, I have recently been on a little bit of a podcast tour, as I have announced that the Loot Bros has returned. And I was on the Hunter Houston ESG podcast. Those of you guys who listened last week or the week before, maybe you heard I had some choice words for old Hunter Houston's podcast network. They do the Wrestling Tornado. Listen here, Wrestling Tornado. I heard what you had to say. All right. And I appreciate you treading lightly on your response, but I will not stand down. As a matter of fact, I will double down on the fact that, someone wrote into your show, and this wasn't Resident Darrell. Someone wrote into your show. Someone sent you a little email, gave you a little type up, and they said you guys were kissing on CM Punk's butt, and you were. And I don't want to hear this Jim Cornette hogwash. Oh, I'm here for the booker. I'm here for the money. No, sir, we are there for the entertainment. And I do understand that a controversial crybaby like CM Punk does generate dollars. You know why? It's like a train wreck. You can't look away from it. It's like reality TV. You really think reality TV would exist if it didn't make money? No, it makes a ton of money. That's the problem. The problem is it exists. And the problem is that CM Punk exists. So I got a problem with you guys smooching up to CM Puke. All right. So I'm going to leave it there and let you know. I don't agree. You weren't looking at this as a Jim Cornette booker. You're trying to cover your behinds. You guys are marks. You're CM Punk marks. And for that, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. I was also a guest on the PlayStation Ain't Dead podcast. That's right. Our good friend Will, former podcast host of the Loot Bros, he went on to bigger, better things, greener pastures, or worse things with, no grass at all. Who knows? I don't know. But I was on episode 8 of the PlayStation Ain't Dead podcast, their highest rated episode yet, the best episode they will ever make. It's the best episode there is, the best episode there was, and the best episode of the PlayStation Ain't Dead podcast there ever will be. So do with that what you will. I was also a guest on the Channel 3 podcast. I want to give a shout out to Ray and Dan for having me on. I got nothing negative to say to you guys. As a matter of fact, I want everyone to go listen to Channel 3. Channel 3, they're good boys. They do good things over there. And I do apologize for making, that episode so amazing. As a matter of fact, I'm going to throw some more stats at you guys, Loot Bros listeners. The Channel 3 podcast episode that I was on, I believe it's either episode 49 or episode 50. If it's episode 50, it's rightfully so. It's a monumental episode for them. If it's episode 49, is the primer for the episode, making it greater than it could have been. But I also set the record for the longest, most entertaining episode on Channel 3 history. So you guys do with that what you will. Go check out and show some love to our boys over at Channel 3. I was also on the Trophy Whores Patreon. That's right. Myself and Sir Starscream, the Maticon, we got together and we basically, carried the weight for Tricky Mick, and we did a Game Awards, Proven Gamer Style Game Awards episode where we all got together. We kind of talked about everything in depth, really broken down. That is, if I'm not mistaken, only available on their Patreon. So now I don't remember what they decided. If that was going to be a free episode, go to the Patreon and listen to it there. Maybe they get you hooked, or if that's at their $1 tier. But it is there. It has been blessed. I have showed up. I showed out. And I made it great. So, guys, I've been on a little tour of the podcast. I will continue to do that. I'm going to go around and meet up with each and all of my friends, make their episodes great, and come back here on the Loot Bros and do our thing. So, with that being said, I'm going to stop right there. That's all the housekeeping you can stand. Go check out the Patreon. Go check out these other shows. Go check out Spotify. Some new old Loot Bros. Not Loot Bros. Ninja Loot. We were the original Loot Bros, the original Ninja Loot Bros. See, I did that. So it's there, guys. Go enjoy it. Now I'm going to cut over into our conversation between myself and my good friend Dan Evans. We'll catch you guys next week. We appreciate it. And if I don't say it at the end of the show, I want to go ahead and say it now. Just remember, anime's for pervs.
Got him! Got him! Oh!
And just when you thought I was cutting over to the episode and I was done with housekeeping, I came back because I got him. Hey, guys, one more thing. We did drop a new episode, a new video on the Resident Darrell YouTube channel. Guys, this is technically it's our 500 subscriber celebration. We also do a count on all of the copies of Connect Adventures we picked up for the Crusade. Now, it's other pickups. It's not just Connect Adventures, even though Connect Adventures is probably the most exciting thing any of you will watch on YouTube this week. But no, we have a bunch of pickups, some great stuff that we got, and would like for you guys to go check it out. Resident Darrell on YouTube. Go check it out. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Loot Bros Podcast. I'm your host, Resident Darrell, and today I'm joined by my good buddy from some sort of a prison, some sort of internment camp. I mean, you look like you might be hiding out in a bunker somewhere waiting for nuclear fallout. It is Dan Evans. How you doing, brother?
Well, it is. I am at work, so it's all of those things.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I'm glad you're here, man. I'm glad we were able to do this, not just once, but twice in a row. Man, I hope we can make this a habit. This will be a habit I'd like to have.
Hey, it's fine with me, man. I just enjoy talking about things, and like so many people talk about different things, but you can get where you can like predict their opinions. So it's like I'd rather do something more interesting.
It's like that old Roddy Piper quote, just when you thought you had the answer, I changed the question. I was messaging you after we recorded last week. I'd edit it and I'd send it out into the internets to be consumed. And I was listening to a podcast and in my feed, and I subscribe to my own show. And every now and again, I'll jump in just to make sure things sounded good. You know, maybe I like the sound of my voice. I don't know. But I was listening back to this show, just kind of played right into it. And I was like, I'll listen to this. So I remember us having a good time. And I listened back to the episode and I was laughing hysterically. Like, at the bull crap we were talking about. And that's when I messaged you. I was like, dude, every time we get together, it is fun. It is a good time. So I am super, super stoked to do this again. So Dan, I know you are going to be working under some time crunches today. Clearly, you know, you are in a hole somewhere. So I will not keep you too long, but I got a handful of segments I want to run today,
Well,
and
I had
today is special.
information that could lead to the arrest of Hillary Clinton, so that's why I'm here.
Well, obviously, ladies and gentlemen, he's not with her because he is hiding from her. He has actually found where her backup server was with all of her classified emails that she stores.
All 6,000 or however many.
Hey, for the record, if either one of us magically disappear in the next, 30 days, neither one of us are going to suicide ourselves.
Yeah, I'm not gonna off myself in Minecraft or whatever.
It's always crazy when you see somebody post online, and just in case I disappear, I did not and do not
Man,
want to disappear.
That's what that McAfee dude did, and then like he was gone. Like the next 2 weeks, he was just gone. And I shouldn't be laughing at that, but it's like, and wasn't there some guy that was like a little guy that he was on like the Cayman Islands or something, and he said that he was like, the FBI is coming after me, and then he's just gone.
Yeah, it was freaking wild, man. It's so funny. I had never heard of Alex Jones before,
Oh, you're missing out.
and then the when I did hear about him was a friend of mine and I. We listened to podcasts at work when we worked together, and he was like, "Dude, you ever heard of Alex Jones?" And I was like, the name sounds familiar, but I've never really listened to his stuff. Wow, what's up, dude? He's like broadcasting live right now, and he's at the FBI. He's like following him, and he has information on Hillary Clinton and all this stuff. And I was like, really? That's wild.
I like how you went to your Randy Savage voice for the really.
But I was like, I was really involved. I was like, oh, he's got information on Hillary Clinton. He might. This is crazy. I can keep me updated.
My favorite Alex Jones meme is that a friend of mine dated a girl named Alex Jones, and we gave him so much hell.
Dude, that's awesome.
Because it was like on Facebook, it's like in a relationship with Alex Jones, and people are like, what?
Bro, I will send you a reel. It's a Godzilla and King Kong reel, but it's Alex Jones. It's like, King Kong, I'm just trying to find a new home, and Godzilla, and it's like Alex Jones is Godzilla. And It's like, listen here, you GDMF, I'm gonna beat your F and A.
There's a video of him singing "Mother" by Danzig, and it's it's great.
It's so funny. Like, out of context, Alex Jones is seriously some of the funniest crap in the entire world. Like, it is. I follow an Alex Jones meme page, and it's constant
That's
gold.
just called InfoWars.
That's how he beats the system. Every time they ban him off of a platform, he just creates a meme page of himself.
That's it.
And he's getting his message across.
That's the whole thing.
I'm a meat-eating, red-blooded American. Hillary Clinton smells like sulfur.
Somebody made his quotes into an indie song.
Yes. The blood-sucking vampires. Oh my gosh. So
what topics did you have, man?
So I got a couple things. Obviously, today is super important today. Today is the launch of your Indiegogo for the Godfo book. So I wanted to kind of start things off. I know last week we went all over the universe and back about all kinds of crazy things, and then we got to Godfo. I want to start off and let you have some time to kind of talk about Godfo, the Indiegogo stuff, if there's anything we need to know, and then we're going to get into the whatever else.
All right, well, I'll send you the link. I think I put it in the Loot Bros Podcast Facebook group. I don't know if I put it in the Discord yet. But it's 175 pages or more. It's black and white, kind of like an American manga, but better than that term would imply. Because it's Josh Adams doing the art, and I'm sure your crowd is familiar with Josh. He's a brilliant artist. It's an awesome work, man. I'm really proud of it. I think I couldn't be more proud of a debut piece of work than I am of it. It's a cohesive 6-chapter story. Each chapter kind of follows the perspective of an individual member of the group, and the group consists of augments that were freed by another augment. And an augment is someone in our world. There's something called Impera metal. It's an alien metal that landed on Earth, and a group of elites that control the world, or are trying to control the world, use it to experiment on people, and they're trying to create their own god. Basically, they're trying to create a person/machine that can broadcast their message, their will across the world, and bring forth a one world order, a new world order. So totally based in not reality.
Yeah, well, it sounds like an Alex Jones episode all day long.
Yeah, it's a great way to
Hillary
start.
Clinton, she's got a pyramid. I'm telling you, she's trying to build her own god. And she's going to claw into a coffin full of blood. They're going to have sex. And there's these giant democratic vampire orgies. Sorry, I heard him say that.
That's I'm sure you did. I probably could convince him it's real. That's what's funny. But so it starts with Zero, who was one of the main prime candidates for the God Project. He's been implemented and augmented with an imperial head and brain. He frees the other augments, and they have different powers. One of them has a spine. He can channel electricity. One of them is a big guy, and his arms have been replaced, so his arms are metal, and they could bend and take different shapes and stuff. And it follows them as they escape from the Order's control, which that's the name of the elite group, the Order. and they start training, and they kind of are hiding out in a secret base until a conflict ensues. And the last 3 chapters are all of that conflict. We really like to take our time with action scenes, because one of our biggest complaints about modern comics is like it's like a page or 2 of action, and then nothing, and just a lot of talking. There's a lot of modern comics. There's a lot of talking, and it's not even internal dialogue. It's people talking. Like I can read an internal monologue. I can read somebody's thoughts. I mean, that's what Alan Moore and Frank Miller like made super popular. You know, especially Frank Miller with the noir kind of detective style. So we try to do a nice mixed bag of things, and it's an experimental comic. It's more along the lines of an indie thing, such as like Kabuki or Grendel, if anybody remembers those. I'm a big Cerebus fan. We don't go off as esoteric as Dave Sims. We're not writing giant paragraphs of our ideology like that guy did. But I guess what I'm trying to say is it's not a cape book, and we didn't want to do a cape book, and I think I'm kind of fed up with cape books, and I would love to do one later, but not right now. But what really sets us apart in the indie scene is it seems like people really want to try to be Todd McFarlane, or they're trying to be manga. So we're not manga. If anything, Josh's art, the only manga is really inspired by is kind of like Akira, that kind of stuff, like 80s and 90s. But you can look at yourself. Like, go to the Indiegogo. You can see the trailer. We did a character bio page for each character, and it's a really good adventure. And it's going to be multiple volumes long. This one is volume 1, Live Not by Lies, and it addresses basically a lot of what's happening in our own world. And of course, it's kind of like 1984 and our world met X-Men.
All of my favorite things.
But no, I mean, I don't know. I don't mind spoilers. I mean, if we want to go into spoilers, that's fine with me. I mean, I was going to send you a full copy to review anyway.
That would be. I would love to review it. I would also. I'm going to be signing up and purchasing it for sure. Don't spoil it for me. I am. Right. I want to come into this as a fan. I want to come into this as a like. What you said is plenty. I mean, you sold me with all that stuff.
Well, I hope so. This is what we originally wanted to release. We had some disagreements with our publisher who wanted us to do an ash can. That ash can is still for purchase as an add-on, but we really wanted to drop this big almost 200-page graphic novel on people. And I don't know, everyone, if anyone is into indie comics, it's all, or in the comics now, it's always, I'm getting tired of hearing about manga. I love manga. I love anime, but I'm getting tired of comic creators complaining that manga's eating our lunch. We need to go to the manga model. It's like, manga model works great for manga. Mm-hmm. There are tons of people that want to read comic books, and we want to do graphic novels. And I don't know, it's like if you want to restore glory to something, you don't run from it. Like, I don't mean to get off on topic, but to me, it's like the 80s and 90s had these wonderful indie comics. Like I said, Grendel, Kabuki, Cerebus, and other things like that. Bone was even a really great run, even though it was kind of short. And then it just kind of stopped. And it wasn't indie. It wasn't Image that did that. Image kind of took the Marvel DC method and made it extreme. Literally, that was their selling point. Extreme. It was like Marvel on steroids. But no one ever really took indie on steroids. And no one really pushed it as far as it can go, I don't feel like. And to me, that's a shame. And it's like, you can make manga. It's like, that's great, but you can kind of tell when a Asian company makes manga. You know what I mean? You can feel that it's not the same. And I'm talking to you, Darrell. You don't give a flip about anime.
Oh man, my tagline, my moniker is "Anime is for pervs." So like, it has been. It's so funny because I've said a lot of stuff over the years, and I've podcasted for years and years and years and been on all these shows, and I've guested on all these shows, and I've always joked that the things that I say that are of substance, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe especially when it comes to like my religious values, my Christian values, my good old American values, all that stuff. And none of that sticks. But I say something outlandish and stupid, and it's just like, boom, that was the one. And I throwaway line about how anime is for pervs, and I was on one of my little wrestling style rants on a podcast one day, and then I get a graphic. Someone makes a meme, and it's like an American flag, some anime chick, and it says "anime is for pervs" with the little dash Resident Darrell underneath it, and I'm like, that's amazing. So.
Well, you just discovered the Alex Jones method, though. Like, you just say those things.
That gets everyone's attention. Yeah. And I just slide in the important stuff. But I say all that to say this is, I don't have a background in anime. I never found an anime property that I loved, and it's even been a challenge in the community to be like, just send me something that's like, this is the anime, this is the one anime to rule them all. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like. And it's like, send me something that maybe I'll bite into. And now, that's not to say I haven't enjoyed some things, but for the most part, as a general whole, it's just not for me. I'm not a big manga guy. I bought Resident Evil manga, but it's not for me. That doesn't mean it can't exist or it can't be good, but like I have, I make my jokes and I say my pieces or whatever. I got my little taglines, and I look at the art style and what you guys are going for and the things that I've seen, the stuff that's been printed and the stuff that hasn't been printed. I think it's awesome, dude. And I think that, as a matter of fact, years ago, before Godfo was even like a thing, I'm sure you guys have called it that for forever, but before we all knew, I created a place in the Loot Bros Discord for Josh Adams art, and he was putting Kolga like art in there, things that he was kind of working on, and I've always thought, I was like, man, this is such a blend of the art styles. You know what I'm saying? The American style, that he's got everything he does is amazing, and it's very unique to him. And I think but to me, I see, there's a little bit of Jim Lee influence. There's a little bit of Todd McFarlane influence. There's some obvious anime influence, and I don't know, he's got his own take on things, and I think it looks great. And the work that he's done, and the work he's done for the Loot Bros, and Ninja Loot, my band, and it's like, he is so diverse, and it's so, I don't know, the stuff is just cool. It's just cool. I like it. And so I've been a fan since day one, and then, I'm anticipating it all coming together, because one thing is, we've talked a lot, but I haven't got to read a lot of your writing. So, yep. I already know the art's going to be good. So now it's like, all right, well, does the writing measure up?
I would assume if it didn't, Josh wouldn't have worked with me.
Okay. Well,
because Josh actually reads more than I do.
Well, I'll throw you a curveball. He's done work with me. That doesn't actually say much there, Dan. He might have an affliction, and it's working with subpar character. I'm just kidding.
Perhaps.
So I don't know. I'm excited though. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to read it, and I will be.
We'll have you a copy next week.
I'll be a big old cheerleader for you guys. So, and I'll of course be supporting the Indiegogo as well.
Thank you. And anybody else listening, it's a bold claim, but I mean, I will tell you, you won't be disappointed, especially if you want something different in comics. If you are tired of the mainstream, like, we're not going to be like a lot of guys on YouTube that are like, buy our stuff to own Marvel and DC. Like, no, it's just better. Because there's a lot of those guys saying that can't deliver better, and that's happening right now. Our stuff is better than that. It might be a little different. You're not going to get Spider-Man. You're not going to get Superman. Those stories have been told. If you want to read the best ones of those, you can go read Kraven's Last Hunt. You can go read Dark Knight Returns. Those are great. People are we're not deconstructing anything. We're trying to make something new.
Nice. I'm excited. So I want to pivot from there. Okay, sure. So we've put it out there. Godfo, Indiegogo, let's go. All the O's. And then now I've got a couple segments that I'm going to be. We're going to work our way through. Now, I didn't give you this up front. I didn't give you time to prepare, so I don't expect you to physically have anything for some of this.
You want the Alex Jones answer?
And say what?
You want the Alex Jones answers?
I just want you to just rip your shirt off and start going, ah!
No one wants that. No one wants that.
Same here. But A couple of segments that I have done on individual, like solo episodes that I've done together, I'm kind of bringing in, and I want to incorporate them. Maybe not every week. You know, like last week, you and I just talked for an hour, and I was like, how did the time even pass that fast? So today I want to be a little more structured, but, you know, we'll see where it takes us. Now, I want to start with recommendations. Now, I have been consuming a bunch of different stuff lately, right? Not drugs, not yet. But I've been like, while I'm working, I've had a bunch of horror movies on, and I've been listening to a bunch of different bands and stuff, and I've come across some stuff recently that just was really, really good. And I got to thinking about it. I'm like, you know, each time I have a guest on, you know, long-term guest, co-host, whatever, I would like to know kind of what you're into. So, what are some recommendations you have just for entertainment, whether it be movies, shows, music, comics that you're reading? Like, what are you into? What are you consuming right now, Dan?
Well, the main thing, this sounds super nerdy and pretentious. The main things I'm consuming right now are books, because I have not been able to read for about a year and a half because I've been writing so much. And I'm sure some Stephen King guy will get on me and be like, if you have time to write, you have time to read. Well, okay, Stephen King was doing Blow and was a millionaire, so
Yeah.
I can't do either of those things. Yeah. So, I mean, I've been reading, you want to talk about Alex Jones stuff, I've been reading, like, you know, heavy stuff like that. I've been reading, like, The Psychology of Mind Control by, I think it was Robert Lifton. He kind of coined the Japanese phrase of brainwashing, Chinese phrase, because the term brainwashing came from Chinese communists. Like, that they thought they could wash the brain of evil. So I've been reading that. I've been reading some stuff by James Lindsay. I've read his book Counter Wokecraft. I've been reading 1984, because we're doing a book club on that. I've been reading, because I read like 3 or 4 novels at a time. And The Prince by Machiavelli. I bought what's it called, Principles and Dogma, which is like the big Masonic text from like the 1800s, to kind of go into, I mean, it's like 800 pages and it's all crap. Jeez. But it's to get an idea, you know, for this kind of inspiration and stuff. Because, like, I'm gonna be honest, man, you talk about horror movies, I love being scared, and like what's kind of freaked me out is the stuff people will believe, and then the stuff they'll write books about. Like, that's scary
Heck
stuff.
Yeah.
I've been reading some political theory by a guy called Curtis Yarvin. I don't agree with it, but it's the way he presented his ideas. He kind of coined the phrase "the cathedral" that people use to describe basically our media and economic and political system all kind of working together somehow magically all the time. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And a lot of that I just got terms from, and I put it into our own work. But it's mainly novels. I bought some old, you're gonna laugh. I bought some older anime off eBay. I did Hellsing, which I already loved that one. I've seen that one before. I bought Wolf's Rain. I can't recommend, if you guys are into anime, I know you're not, man, but if you are, Wolf's Rain, if you haven't watched it, is terrific. Blue Gender, that one. I've been trying to watch that one. TV shows, I'm not into it as much. My wife and I started watching the Julia Child show on HBO. It's like a documentary on her life, but just like, we watched that and Marvelous Miss Maisel, and of course, every man in both of those shows is stupid or ineffectual. Yeah. And I just had to tell her, look, this doesn't hurt me. It just, like, it hurts that, like, I have a son that's going to grow up in this world.
Dude, you know what, though? Like, that is something. We're in a phase right now, and we've been in a phase for several years where we're growing and stretching out acceptability when it comes to sexuality. You know, like, it's gone through a lot of phases since in the past, not even 10 years. Okay. And one thing that is, like, annoying, and I've said this on the show a lot, is whatever angle you're trying to push, it's like, oh, here's giant, wave the lights and flags. Like, look, we're talking about sex stuff. Here we go. This is the sex stuff part. And, like, in the 80s, it was like titties. It was nudity. It was just like, here's the naked part. Here's like, hey, look, guys, boobies. And it's just, and I draw a parallel between the 80s and now when it comes to sexuality, because it was like, hey, look what we're doing. and we're not even trying to find a subtle way to tell you. It's just like, hey, look, and it's so annoying. And it's like when you get on a lot of these current shows and stuff, it's like, oh, here's the dumb guy. Look how dumb he is. He's a dude and he's dumb. Oh, look how strong she is. Look at the strong woman. Have you noticed how strong our woman is? And it's just so like, it's just, we always talk about bad writing, and I'm like, that's that stuff right there. Like Brandy will turn on a show, and in minutes I'm just like checked out, because like, oh look, there's a stereotypical dumb guy. There's not an ounce of masculinity on this entire program, and but look how strong this woman is. Like seriously, not only is she strong, Dan, but they literally told me she was strong. Like it was so frustrating watching The Punisher season 2.
I didn't finish.
I couldn't finish it either, because they focus so much on the sexuality of everyone. And I'm not talking about gay, straight, I'm saying bi, furry, whatever. I'm talking about like just literal, like actual, like the Billy and the chick that he was his therapist, and then friggin' Frank Castle and the other chick. It's just like, that's not, I wanted to watch this dude rage and kill people. I'm not here for him to fall in love again. That's not what The Punisher is. It's not good. And then they had that FBI detective where they kept like you were talking about internal, you can read internal monologue. This popped in my head earlier. It's like, yeah, kind of like on The Punisher, how like they couldn't just like let her do things to like let you wrap your attention and your trust and care on the character. It was like, dude, you're a bad A. Do you know her? Yeah, I heard she was a real bad A. Hey, Dan, she's a real, like 3 times in this one episode, we're going to talk about how much of a bad A she is. And you know what? She is a terrible actress. It's just like, but they couldn't convey what she was as far as an archetype goes, so they just told you. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, we're not smart enough to do this in a way that makes you think it figured out for yourself and appreciate it. So you know what we're going to do, Dan? Hey, she's strong, by the way. Did you see how strong she was? She's real strong.
Yeah, well, it's a fight on reality, because if they're going to show her strong, it would have to be either from a motherly instinct like Ripley, mm-hmm, or Sarah Connor, or they'd have to do it in competition with men based on reality, which means you can't show physical overcoming. It had to be a different way. Like I know Halle Berry's character was at John Wick 3. She was a highly trained assassin, awesome, and she was awesome, and she had 2 dogs at her side. And there was difference, and it shows there's a difference. Like, okay, she knows jiu-jitsu, she knows how to like subdue a man that's 50 pounds heavier than her, but you show how it works. She's not picking him up.
And it gives me freaking chill bumps just hearing it explained, because it's like, yes, like you understand that there are fundamental differences between us, and yet you are smart enough to say she is so tough that not only is she tough, she's smart, she's agile, but like she's an equal to John Wick, mm-hmm, or people in that universe. And when she's not equal, she's got the dogs, and those dogs are freaking amazing. And it was just like, dude, how cool was that? Like Halle Berry's character was just, I freaking loved all those scenes with her in it. Mm-hmm. And you know what they didn't tell me? Not one time, Dan? Halle Berry's strong. Did you know that, Darrell? Did you know how strong she is? Look how strong Halle Berry is, because she's strong, right? Like, to me, it's just stuff like that where it's like, I liken so much. I do this at home so much, dude. Everything I liken everything back to wrestling. Mm-hmm. Because wrestling is all about stories and making you believe things, and, just like, it's just, you can come away with an opinion over somebody without the outcome that you wanted, like, and that's what's so great about the storytelling in wrestling. It's like, I'll use an example. Now you don't watch wrestling, do you?
Not since the 90s.
Okay. So, back, this past Saturday, Thanksgiving weekend, okay, or was it the Saturday before? I don't even know how time works anymore, but, Thanksgiving weekend, there was the Survivor Series pay-per-view, okay? The Miz, former reality TV star turned WWE superstar,
which, hey, more power
went up
to him.
against.
That guy was like already like in his almost 30s when he was a reality TV show, wasn't he? Like he really pulled through.
And he's
not to go on a tangent, but I got to give props to that guy. When he became a wrestler, I was like, that guy's starting late. He's starting small, and he did it.
And he's been a champion twice. He's been a multiple champions, but he's been the top dog twice. He does all of this multimedia stuff. He's amazing on the mic. He looks like $1 million, and he hasn't aged a day since Road Rules. Like, it's crazy. He still looks, and he married one of the most beautiful women that ever walked in WWE. Like, it's crazy. You know, this chick that he married. He's got a couple kids, and he's awesome. He's a movie star. He's a rock star. He's everything. So, but The Miz is notoriously a bad guy and notoriously a weasel that loses all the time. But even when he loses, he still wins because, sure, he didn't win the match, but everything said and done, he was the orchestrator behind it all. You know, you look like $1 million, not because you beat The Miz, because The Miz made you look like $1 million. And it's psychology, and it's the writing behind the character. And so this past Saturday, or this past pay-per-view, or they call them PLEs now, premium live events, because you don't actually pay for them anymore. It's part of a subscription. But so they had this match, and it's him versus this European superstar named Gunther. And this dude is like 6 or 7 inches taller than him. Probably has they might be in a similar weight class. Maybe he's got 30 pounds on him. But this dude is a strong style wrestler. He smacks dudes and their chest whelps up and bruises instantly. And he's a very physical wrestler. Now you take The Miz, who's a lot of mouth, and then you put him up against this guy. Why? You know The Miz is going to lose. And he went in there and he took the chops and he chopped back and he took the bumps, the hard slams, and slammed back. And at the end of the day, he lost the match. But when the pay-per-view, the PLE was over, you know what we talked about? Man, Miz looked awesome in there, and he made Gunther look like $1 million, you know? And it was like, it wasn't because he got out there and said, or, you know, look how great Gunther is, look how strong he is, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, no. They got in there, they did the thing, they told a story by their actions and by their responses and what they did. They worked the psychology of the match, and at the end of the day, sure, Miz lost, but he won because he looked awesome and he made the other guy look awesome. Now, I say all that to say this. I tie everything in life into wrestling because there's so much psychology behind wrestling, and you know it's not real, okay? So Stone Cold Steve Austin said the only thing real on television is wrestling because you know it's fake. Everything else is trying to convince you that it's real, but it's really fake. You know what you're getting. We're just playing our parts. And so I look at it, and I look at just the psychology behind what these guys can do day in and day out, week in and week out, what these women can do day in and day out, week in and week out. And then I go and I watch a show where you got $1 million budget, $1 billion budget, and you got 50 people in a room sitting around a table writing this thing, and you got all of the best directors and all the best actors and actresses out there, and you come away with a subpar product. It's like because you just don't know how to tell a story. You don't know how to convince me that something is legit or real without telling me incessantly how legit or real it is. And it's boring and lame. And
a lot of that goes to our culture, man. Like the telling instead of showing. But the best way to define that is it's telling versus knowing, and that goes back to our education system. It goes back to our whole world where you have an entire generation or 2 generations of kids that don't experience anything. They're just told. They're told everything. They spend all their life in school. They're institutionalized from 3 to 22. And, you don't want sadness and trauma to happen to people. And, my God, people go through hell every day. There's people right now that you would never know that are just going through horrible things. But you have a ton of people that go into the creative fields that have never really talked to another person before, have never experienced a vast array of human emotions like suffering. And trauma and suffering are also 2 different things. Like, there are people, suffering is also kind of tied to this idea, that you can bear it and you can get through it. It's not that you're always a victim. Trauma, the word trauma has always been like, oh, you're a victim, it's happening to you. You don't overcome it. And because we medicate everything, because we're such a materialist and intellectual society, everything's medicated instead of born. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yep. I'm not trying to go off on a tangent here, but it's like, think
that's
of your
what we do
favorite
here, Dan. When you and I get together, we go on tangents. We're going to tell. They came for video games, and what you're learning is you're learning that you're over medicated. You haven't experienced anything. You don't know how to tell a story. That's what you come to the Luke Bros Gaming Podcast to hear.
Oh yeah, it's like stories are supposed to connect you to these gigantic cosmic truths that surpass humanity. They're not supposed to regurgitate a theory. And that's all we're getting is a regurgitation of theory of how we think the world works instead of actually like how it is. And you brought the Punisher. It's such a sad thing because Punisher season 1 was good. And so even better was Daredevil 2, season 2, when he was fighting Daredevil. And the altercation with them on the rooftop when he kind of ties up Daredevil and they're fighting, and the Punisher, his whole thing is, you know, when I hit them, they stay down. And that's the whole thing, is that you got this guy, he's 100% convinced of this thing because of the pain he has. And even though he's 100% convinced of it in the moment, he knows it's not right. He knows he's a bad person, but you have 4 different levels of contradiction all there. And I'm not going to get into, you got to have anti-heroes and all that kind of gritty stuff, but it's like, no, but it doesn't matter. The Punisher's just so well written because he has all these contradictions, because he's a human being. He's trying to figure out this whole thing instead of just regurgitating an ideology. He wasn't given a golden standard of a book and said, go say it. Yep. He's trying to navigate the world. That's the best way. If I had to sum up the best way to write a character, have them trying to navigate the world, navigate reality, not trying to bend reality. How you write villains is you have them trying to bend reality to them.
To what they want, yeah. You've been in that's awesome.
Well, that's why awesome. That's why Ray was so bad. How did Ray beat Kylo every time? She screamed and yelled and gave an anger and frustration, and the movie never punished her for it. The movie never said, hey, you're kind of becoming like a Sith right now when you do that. Like,
heck yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that's the whole thing. Like, she wasn't trying to navigate the world. She forced the world into her, which is what Sith do. They only deal in absolutes. only them deal in absolutes.
All right, so we're in a the segment is technically recommendations, and we've gone off the rails.
Sorry.
So I'm going to dial it back.
I got more recommendations if you want.
I'm going to throw one. I'm going to throw one at you real fast.
Yeah,
I'm going to throw one at you, and we can go back and forth. We don't have to leave this. I just want to make sure I'm conscious of your time. Okay.
We'll just go for 4 hours.
Let's do it. I mean, dude, this is Lou, bro. This is what we do. This 4-hour podcast.
This is what the video game guys want, right? They want me talking about comics.
So I want to throw a recommendation out there to you and to the listeners. Okay, now you guys know I come from a background of music. Dan comes from a background of music, and I found a band the other night. I was watching wrestling promos on Reels. It's my new thing. To sit in bed and listen to wrestling promos for a little while. And every now and again, they'll throw an ad in there, which is a sponsored band usually, because music, video games, comic books, and wrestling. That's kind of like that's me. Yeah. In a nutshell. And so this band popped up, and they were freaking balling. It's a band called Blue Eyed Giants. Have you ever heard of Blue Eyed Giants?
No. Sounds like some Aryan propaganda.
It is most definitely propaganda. But they have a band called, they are a band. They have a song called Everyone is a Slave to Something.
Nice.
And I didn't mean to actually hit play on it, but I'm going to... do you have Spotify? Because I'm going to share it to you if you have.
I do. Well, my wife does. I use her account.
That's all you need. I'm going to send you the link to it. Either way, you'll have the name of the band. But they are a alternative rock band. They have... they're not super heavy, not a screaming band. So for those guys who are like, oh, it's more that deathcore bull crap Darrell's into. No. This is just an awesome... very technically well-written alt rock band, and they have really, really cool riffs, like lots of just like little hammer-ons across the place. It's like, and it just does this really cool stuff. But the dude's vocal range is astronomical. He just is all over the place, and it's fun. It's just good, fun music. Now, the song I sent you, Everyone is Addicted to Something, or a Slave to Something, rather, that one is a little less fun than some of the other ones. It's got some more melodic parts to it, but just very, very well-written music. And something that I want to do in these segments, so as we throw them up there, is I want to give people not only games to check out, because it is essence a gaming podcast, but things to listen to. We have in the Discord right now, if you go to Loot Bros Podcast Discord, guys, we have a channel for bangers. like a little spot where we drop songs and we drop things. As a matter of fact, I need to drop this banger right there because I hadn't dropped it in there yet, and it's just a cool place to discover new stuff. And I know you have a background in music and you appreciate music. And I do as well, although I'm terrible at it. But I just wanted to put that out there. Yeah, we have a channel in there called Recommend Those Bangers. And, dude, this friggin' song, Everyone's a Slave to Something, is just cool. It's a cool song. And I liked it. And I thought it would be something to share with everybody that is interesting at the very least. So, now, Dan, I sent you a picture the other day of something I got for you, and it is a PS2 copy, a black label copy at that, of Shadow of Colossus. Now, I know you're a PS2 guy.
I appreciate it so much.
Dude, you're good. I haven't shipped it yet, so don't appreciate it yet. Yeah, I'll ship it eventually. But gaming-wise, where are you at? Now, I know for a little while there, you had bought yourself a PS2, and you were kind of getting into some of the retro stuff. You're technically building a game currently right now.
Oh, yeah.
To kind of throw into the Godfo universe. Like, are you playing anything? Are you rocking anything right now?
I'm right now. The main thing I'm doing is the Switch remake of Mario RPG because that is probably my favorite game from when I was a kid. Mostly because of the music, like the aesthetics great, the gameplay's great, but that music, that soundtrack it's to me it's kind of like the Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time soundtrack, where it's just that good and it's not overrated. Like people are like, oh, it's overrated. Like no, it's not. Like this is like this dude dropped like the John Williams of video game soundtracks. So just
there you go.
Accept it. But yeah, I'm mostly still retro. I mean, I've got like you sent me Zone of the Enders. I'm still going through that. I would have beat it in like a week if I didn't have children and a wife and a job. Extermination, you also sent me that. I was going back through Armored Core 2. I beat that one. Mostly PS2 games. Mostly PS2.
Sweet.
I mean, I've got like a bunch of Super Nintendo games. I broke out the 64. I was playing GoldenEye with a buddy that came over,
Heck yeah.
I know I sound like a meme. I'm so bland, but I mean, I can't keep up with modern video games. I like some of the indie scene stuff. But even then, like, and I saw this. I want to talk to you about this. Like, I've seen where these companies have just kind of deleted people's accounts for what they've said or written, and like they lose access to their games. I mean, I can't get into dystopia, man. Like, I can write dystopia apparently, but like I can't bring myself. And I'm gonna stop this. I'm gonna stop right here because what you guys have done and what a lot of people do is you've created a really cool community of people, of gamers. And I think that's great. I think that's fantastic. But I have a hard time, me personally, owning digital things I know I don't own.
Right.
You know?
I'm a physical dude, forever physical. I mean, I own a lot of digital stuff, but I know that is finite, temporary. One day they're going to turn that switch off. You know what I won't lose? I won't lose this physical copy of Saw on Xbox 360 that I picked up today. And I've never played this game.
Will you lose any of your copies of Batman v Superman?
No, I've got so many of them. It's so funny. I pick them up all the time. But so, again, recommendation style stuff. Like, I picked this up today. I made a trade deal. I got another PlayStation Vita. That is Vita number 12.
Yeah.
And I got a PS3, a PS1, a stack of PS1 games. Nothing great. Just common sportsy, cool borders and, mud truck and stuff like that. But this game right here, horror game I did not own, I never had, and it is freaking Saw on Xbox 360. Now, I don't prefer to play on Xbox 360. I like to get my trophies like to play on my PlayStation, but I'm not going to turn down a horror game. And it's stuff like this you can't buy because this is a licensed property. You can't go on the storefront right now and pick this up. Like, it's if you don't own it, it's gone. And no matter how people slice it, dice it, flip it, twist it, rearrange it, all that stuff. At the end of the day, if you don't own it, it ain't yours. If you don't have it in your hand, sure, there's an argument to be made that like they can. If you're not online, you don't have the updates in the newest version, or the disc is just a key to unlock the digital version. Blah blah blah. Sure, I get all that, but. And I say this, oh my God, I wish I would have brought it up here. I got to send you a picture. Yesterday, I got a, have you ever heard, okay, let me back up. They make these hard shell cases, right? Games, Gaems, is the company. And it's essentially kind of specialized or targeted towards like people that go overseas and stuff, like military guys. They get these hard shell cases. You put your console in, and it's got a monitor mounted in the case. Okay, so you can just close it like a briefcase, take it with you, open it up, plug it into the wall, boom, you play your video games. You got your own monitor built into the case. You can travel with it. Okay, very much centered on travel and stuff. Typically, the people I see who have them served. Okay, so I'm not saying that this is a military style product, but it's definitely targeted towards people that travel and whatever. So,
can they design a case that makes women that marry those guys reliable and fidelitous?
No. They're trying. That's the games 2.0.
I mean, I say that with all due respect to the troops. I feel so bad. So many of my friends, you marry some girl and they're just. No, I'm just saying. Like I understand. I've seen it happen to so many of my friends. Like those girls, they won't stay loyal, man.
It's an unfortunate thing, but I want to tell you about this real fast because I travel a decent amount. I haven't traveled as much this year. Thank you, Uncle Joe, for this wonderful economy. But in previous years, we travel a whole bunch, and I got this because I'm always taking a monitor, I'm always taking a console, I'm always taking all this stuff, right? And now I have this built-in setup, and I'm so freaking excited about it. But I'm going to tie it all full circle here, ladies and gentlemen, with the digital versus physical argument. When I go to the mountains and there's not good internets, and I go to the beach and I'm in a hotel and I don't have good internets because everybody's watching Pornhub and I'm trying to play friggin' online with my friends. Friggin', if you don't have a physical version of the game, you're not guaranteed to be able to play. Okay? And I know that there are caveats and arguments to be had, but from the PS3 down, realistically, you got a physical copy of the game and a working machine, you are in business. That is ownership, and that is an experience that you can enjoy in its purest form and in the way it was intended. So, yes, I agree with you. Modern day gaming makes things a lot more complicated, a lot different. I have a ton of games across all the spectrum, but I have really found my old man get off my lawn position, and it is the PSP, PS Vita, PS3, Xbox 360, Xbox, that's the era that I really love, and that's the era I collect for, and that's really where anything after that, you start running the risk of not being able to play if you don't have good internet. And if you got to trust the cloud, man, freaking Skynet.
And this is getting into maybe even whining. If I haven't insulted enough people.
This is the wine cast.
A lot of the newer ones, the wine cast. That's nice. Even the new systems, and maybe this is the artist in me, or maybe it's me whining. They don't look or feel aesthetically pleasing. They feel like Apple products. They feel like this sleek, clean, white thing that just sits over there and it loads up like a computer. It's usually got like a blue background or something, and it's very, very polite and clean, and it's got a million different things to choose from. Man, I want like a big honking dinosaur of a system. Like I want to like grab the cartridge and clunk it in and turn it in. You pray to God that the red light turns on. Like,
dude,
there's just something to be said about it,
And that's the beauty about the Loot Bros community, and to kind of pat myself on the back and toot, is that we have gamers of all across the spectrum and all across
which
the gaming.
spectrum?
I was going to there. I was making that joke
gamers
now.
and spectrum do go together.
You see what I'm saying? We have gamers all across the spectrum, and we have gamers all across the different eras of gaming, all of the clumped together. And we're all in it for, various, points and times. Like, there's some guys in our group that, like, they're PC gamers, and they don't understand what it means to play real games. And they don't understand what it means to own games because everything they have is wrapped up in their TurboTax machine. So, then you got the OGs that play the old stuff like you, and that's cool. The purists, as we call them. And then you got guys like me that are basically the gamers of ill repute that are just all over the place, playing on all the consoles, buying digital, buying physical.
You're the Scarlet gamer.
There you go. So, but that's the cool thing is we can all come together and rally around this hobby, man. And I think that, like, and everything we've talked about today all applies, because it's like bad games are written too. You know what I'm saying? Like, and in this era we're in, like, I don't know. I don't want to complain any more than I already have. But bad games are written now, and there's issues with freaking quality that we're getting when it comes to, do you own it? Is it on the disc? Is it just a disc with a key that to download from the cloud? Can you access this? You were talking about people getting their accounts banned and stuff. Like Xbox terms of services, like they've got AI in there now to run and what you're saying in the parties. Yeah, they're getting to the point now where they've already warned you with the new terms of service. We can ban you and your entire account if you say the naughty words. What are the naughty words, Dan? Depends on the day. So, but yeah, so playing old school, playing
just
offline,
leave the naughty words in
player.
the chat for us.
Yeah, a whole new meaning of putting an F in the chat. But yeah, dude. So yeah, it's funny. I wanted to recommend that band. I've been listening to them all week, and I'm super excited about it. But then also I wanted to show off some of my pickups. And granted, this podcast is not going to be video. This is going to be audio. So listeners, I want you to listen in. This little ASMR. That right there is a complete copy of Saw on Xbox 360.
It only works because Darrell is a large guy with muscles. If you had done that same thing looking like me, it would have been weird.
Like, why's Dan got a shake weight?
It's for my supple wrists.
Yes. Well, hey, Dan, I know I only got you for 5 more minutes, so let's sign off. Anything else you want to throw out there into the internets and the universe that you need to get off your chesticles?
My artist would kill me if I didn't promote the book one more time. Go to Indiegogo. We'll provide the link. It's Apollyon 20XX, APOLLYON 20XX. Or you can search Godfo Universe, Indiegogo. You'll find it, or you'll find the link that we're about to send. Recommendations. I would be remiss if I didn't recommend the band Wolf Alice, which I found by accident while I was going outside one time at a coffee shop. Which you don't hear good music at a coffee shop. That's what blew my mind. They have an album called Blue Weekend that is just absolutely fantastic. And it runs the gamut from punk all the way to kind of like Beatles inspired, like melancholy. They have a female lead singer, I think, that writes everything, and her vocals are amazing. Like, it's not overproduced crap. Like, she is really, really, really good. So Wolf Alice, Blue Weekend.
I just queued it up on Spotify. I'm gonna listen to it as soon as we're done.
The whole album is great. And I gotta tell you, I've always, you always kind of liked them because they were a meme where you laugh at their videos. Man, I defy anyone to try to sing like half of Creed songs. Like,
oh, dude, I love Creed.
I've gotten a newfound respect for Creed, particularly Scott Stapp, because I heard the song "What If" by accident the other day. And I started listening back. I was like, man, this guy had ridiculous power in his chest. Like, that dude could sing like a boss.
And that riff, dude. That thing was freaking heavy.
They get a lot of hell, and I give it to them, too. Because, I mean, if you watch their videos while you're just sitting around drinking with your buddies, you'll laugh your head off. Like, that's what I would recommend, guys. Go watch Creed videos. But no, like songs like "What If" and a bunch of other ones, like you won't find a singer that can sing those. Like, that dude had a voice.
I've seen Creed multiple times. I've never been. It's so funny. I listen to a bunch of their podcasts now that where people are going, I like Creed. I like Creed. Remember Creed? And I'm like, wait a minute.
I know you didn't.
I've been down since day one. I've seen them multiple times live. I have been a Tremonti fan since day one, which, by the way,
you have the tribal tattoo to prove it.
I was like, you know how many domestic violence rap sheets I got? I've been listening to Creed and drinking Pat's Blue Ribbon since it wasn't cool.
How many wife beaters you own?
How many wife beaters I ripped? 4. But yeah, dude, have you ever listened to Tremonti? Like whenever they broke up, and then Mark Tremonti started his own band?
Oh yeah,
dude,
he's a phenomenal guitar player.
He's really good. He's kind of a douche, but that's okay. When you good at
he's got the
guitar,
chops to back it up.
Yeah, at one point in time, he was pretty swole too. Yeah, so I'm going to piggyback off that with a couple recommendations in the gaming sphere for you guys, and it ties into the music talk too, because I have to, when you and I talk, I got to write down notes because I feel like I get the most ADD of anyone I talk to.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's great. I love it. Actually, it's kind of euphoric, actually. I'm just kidding.
We should do a 4-hour stream is what we should do.
Well, hey, you just say the word.
You just say the word. We'll do it. So, the band, excuse me, the game I want to recommend, Silent Hill Downpour. Now, I don't know if I mentioned it last time we were talking, but I know I wrote into the Trivia Horse podcast asking if anybody played it. It's on the Xbox 360, PS3 generation. Did you ever play any Silent Hill games?
Oh, yeah. I played the first two. In fact, my first and favorite podcast I heard of you was you and Josh comparing Resident Evil to Silent Hill.
That was
Silent
fun.
Hill almost has a mystical quality to me. It's how good and how scary it is. Like that thing traumatized me as a kid in the best way.
Yeah. Well, it's so cool because doing that with Josh really got me like wanting to go back and finish up the games I didn't finish, And Downpour I've owned for years and never played. So recently I put it in, I played it. I'm almost done with it. I think it said I'm like 70-ish% done.
You have to pay for the rest of it. You have to download the rest of it.
This is OG with a free microtransaction stuff. But I'm about 70% done with it. I'm knocking out some of the side missions right now just because like they're kind of interesting. It's kind of cool what they're doing. The game plays like teetotal trash, like hot garbage. So it's a little jank, it's a little funky to play through. There's a lot of stutter. I even had some crashes on there. It might run better on Xbox 360. I don't know, but I'm playing on PS3, and it's very interesting. But the thing that I wanted to bring up about it, is it worth playing? It's probably like a 6 or a 7, 6.5 or something like that. But the thing that's interesting is Korn did the intro song. And it's Korn when Brian Welch left and it was just Monkey. Yeah. And the song is good but bad.
Yeah.
Like it's got some cool riffs. You know what I'm saying?
I think you just described Korn in general.
The main hook is pretty good, but it's like kind of bad, and I kind of like it. So like I was telling my wife,
is it just beatboxing the whole time?
No, it's not. It doesn't have the rat scat kind of stuff going on, but it's like I don't know. It's good, and it fits the theme. It fits the Silent Hill because the music is kind of empty, but yet when it's there, it's a little eerie.
As a segue, we have to do a podcast, you, Josh, and I, talking about the early 2000s aesthetic from the music to the anime to the movies, everything. You know what? As soon as I say early 2000s aesthetic, you know what I mean? Green and black.
Yep.
Yeah, anyway, just to segue.
100%.
Yeah, that's a whole thing.
100%. But yeah, dude, so I've been playing this game. It's good. Do I recommend it for everybody? No. If you're a Silent Hill fan, you have to. If you're a survival horror fan, it's got some good jump scares in it. It's a pretty decent game, too. It's got the best combat of all the Silent Hills, bar none. It's like, because this guy, his story is really cool, too. The game plays bad, but a lot of the other elements are really good. But that's kind of Silent Hill in general, The gameplay is better in this one than the others. The game runs bad, I guess is the best way to put it. Because a lot of them play kind of bad, but on purpose. Like you're just fumbling around trying to find Cheryl, But I'm playing it, but every time I turn it on, I let the theme song play, and it's a song by Korn. And I guess it's technically probably just Jonathan Davis. I don't remember. It might have just been him, but it's definitely Korn stuff.
You need to check out a game for the PS2. It's unbelievably hard to find now. I lent it to a guy. I never got it back, and I'm kicking myself because it goes for like $100 a copy. It's called Rule of Rose.
No, it's $800 a copy now.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
I had the beautiful white cover with the red. It's so janky, but it's like Silent Hill. It makes you feel so uncomfortable the whole game. But yeah, like if you ever get your hands on that, you should do a review of Rule of Rose.
100%. That's a grail game I'm after because I'm actually going on a podcast tomorrow night as the time we're recording this. So this podcast will go live before this other one does.
Yeah.
But I had a deal set up to get a copy of Rule of Rose and Haunting Ground recently, and the deal fell through, and we're going to talk about that. It's going to be one of the segments on the show. But I was invited on a PlayStation Ain't Dead podcast to talk about PlayStation collecting and this particular story. So it's really fun you bring out Rule of Rose because I'm getting ready to get real salty on it. But yeah, I've never had it. I've never owned that game. It's never been in my hands. It's never been in my possession, and that's one of those that. Like the sold comps on it are $700 and $800 right now.
It's not one to play around kids, not even for the gore. It's just got some anime stuff in it. That's the nicest way to put it. It's got the anime stuff you're right about.
Hey, well, you know what? It's funny you mentioned that because I started playing one of the Fatal Frame games with my daughter the other day. and it's got a lot of the
That's a
anime
funny
stuff in
sentence.
that.
That's a funny
like-
sentence. That's my favorite frame of my daughter the other day. We had Marilyn Manson on in the background. It was great.
So we did this thing, right? So we watched. I know you got to go, so I'm gonna end it with this.
Yeah.
We did this thing where over Thanksgiving break we watched a bunch of movies. I had to do all my continuing education and certification stuff for work, so I had 10, 12 hours of that. But like just because it's 10 or 12 hours timed doesn't mean you're going to get it done that fast. It means it's probably going to be 15 to 20 hours. It was essentially what it ended up being. So they're all behind me in the recliners. I got a movie going, and I'm just sitting there doing my CT or my CE rather, and my multiple concussion test. I got mine doing my CT. Yep, still concussed.
You just hit yourself in the head.
For 15 hours. Yep. I still feel it. But we watched The Grudge. We watched The Ring. We watched Rain of Fire, which is awesome.
Oh, I love Rain of Fire.
You lead, I'll follow. So we watched that. We watched The Forest, which is really good. That's the where that chick goes to the Japanese suicide forest or whatever. And her twin sister comes after her. You haven't seen it yet?
No.
Okay, you gotta watch it. I might actually send it to you. I might whenever I send you that. Do you know what I need to do? And I did this for Josh. I share with him my digital library, my Voodoo Movies Anywhere stuff, whatever.
Nice.
I need to share that with you too because I buy all these movies and get all this stuff and whatever, and I always check the digital codes if they work. I'm like, boom, we got like 400 movies in our digital library just for whatever. So, anyways, yeah, The Forest, gotta check it out. It's really good. But we watched a whole bunch of these horror movies that are like kind of skirt the line on what's appropriate for 11 and 13-year-old kids. And they were like, no, we're not going to have bad dreams. We're not going to have bad dreams. Night one, no bad dreams. Night two, my daughter's in the bed.
No.
I'm like, what are you doing? Get out of here. Get out of here.
Go in the
I'm not
forest.
scared. I just want to sleep in y'all's room. Like, no, you haven't slept in our room since you were 8 months old. Get out of here.
Luckily, mine is still just watching like the Aristocats and My Neighbor Totoro. So that's where we're at with that.
Dude, it was so funny because we watched The Ring, right? And The Ring's it's not terrible. A couple cuss words here and there. A lot of. We'll see what the long-term damage I did to my kids. But hey, I was at 11 years old. I was playing Resident Evil. I was consuming all the zombie movies. I was watching Interview with the Vampires. You know what that means.
And now you're talking to me.
This is the future. This is what you got to look forward to. So yeah, I turned out fine, right? Got to get my CT
Doing my CT test.
Anyways, watched a bunch of horror movies this weekend. And so we followed up with let's play a game that's also horror. And I was like, you know what? I got my PS3 over here. I got the first 3 Fatal Frame games downloaded. I'm like, I've never played Fatal Frame 3. Let's try it. And we open it up, and it's a little spooky. It's kind of cool. It's whatever. But like, I'm like, dang, why is everybody's titties hanging out?
And dang it, Japan. Like, they're all 12.
I forgot. This is pre-women's rights. That's why this is.
This was pre-women's rights.
That doesn't
Did they
make
have
no
that?
sense.
I don't think they had that in Japan.
See, it still counts as pre-women's rights.
That's one of my favorite stupid jokes. Is like, yeah, back when men were men and women were property. Like, anytime you refer to the past.
Oh my gosh, I've been watching this channel on Facebook Reels. It's these dudes it's called Dock Talk or Dock Dock Talk. So it's just a bunch of dudes sitting around on a dock and they tell dad jokes at each other and they drink coffee. And oh my gosh, dude, there was this one joke he made. It was so funny because I sat down in my recliner like last night. And immediately my wife's like, don't get comfortable. It's almost time to put the kids to bed. And I was like, you've been sitting here for this whole time while I've been doing dishes and making sure the kids were all fed. And so I played the thing for her. I was like, it said, the guy was like, I've had a rough time getting my wife's attention lately. So I sat down on the couch and relaxed. That did the trick.
That'll do it.
And she was like,
my wife will just dead straight say, I don't like your jokes, and just walk away. Just say, I don't like your jokes. I'm like, it's not a joke. I was raising a grievance. Like, Well, my favorite joke with my wife with that is, I won an argument. We were laying in bed, and she had done something, and I was right about it. And we went back and forth, and she said, "Fine, I'm sorry." And I rolled over to go to sleep, and it's like 2 minutes go by, and she rolls over and she goes, "Is there anything you want to apologize for?" I'm sure you could tell me.
Dude, my wife, we were going at it one time, and she apologized, and I was like, what?
Yeah, like,
Just like, I do that all the time. I'm like, oh, that's the big one. That's the one. I always
Elizabeth.
joke and grab my heart. I'm like, that's the
it's all
one.
those CT tests.
But yeah, I give her a hard time. It's fun. I tried to stay away from the belittling the wife jokes because she's so much smarter than me and makes so much more money than me. But
Mine will just stab me.
dude, mine used to. God dog, man. But yeah, so I don't remember where we were at, but yeah, Jonathan Davis, Korn, Silent Hill Downpour, do it.
Yeah.
I might just
All
be
right.
blasting you the rest of the day with links of things that I'm thinking about because
That's fine.
that song is good bad, but it's bad
Yeah.
good. It's
Oh no, I listened to the Tattoo album, the All the Things She Said. Do you remember that song from the early 2000s? I have that album, and I love it because it's good bad.
dude. Okay, speaking of good bad, I went to a pawn shop the other day, right, and was trying to negotiate some video game deals for a video. And this dude, I feel like I had to buy something in there because the guy was like, "Yeah, I got like a stack of 40 DS games." And he's like, "I told a dude that I would sell them to him today. If he doesn't come out today, I'll just give you a call." So I left my card. And I'm just standing there talking with him, and I see this right here. This is it's a rap rock band from 2000 called Trick Turner. Like,
Okay.
and they have a song called Friends and Family. It's really, I like it.
I've never heard of them. I like how they use the Linkin Park font, though.
Yeah, well, this was that same era, but Trick
Yeah.
Turner. But yeah. Anyways,
The Ted Turner.
but it's dude, I bought it for $1, and I was like, this is good bad. Like it's these guys rap and do like stuff, but they're also of some sort of Hispanic dissension, and they seem
Dissension.
they seem very
Dissension.
like they got an image to them. It's like and then they do some of this stuff, and I'm like, okay, I like it. And then they got one dude that kind of does the more softer, cleaner stuff. One guy does the more raspier rap stuff. And I'm like,
Nice.
this is
he
a
have
product
good-
of its time, and
Does
I
he have
love
good
this
flow
time.
at least? Like legit, does he have good flow?
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a whole song about how much they hate their dad. That's pretty cool. So, but
Is
this
it
is
like-
the era
it's like-
of like one hit wonders too. So there's like two
Track
songs there
nine.
that's worth it.
Track 9, track 10, track MS-13.
Track 3, always track 3. Late 90s, early 2000s, always track 3. That was the single.
Yep. You had to go through 2 to get there.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna send you.
Yeah, send me everything, man. I'm always, my brain is like ADD, but I never get diagnosed with it. Like I'll consume all the media at once. Why not?
Gosh, I'm over here like laughing and snotting all over the place. Great audio. It's like, is he on drugs?
Man, who cares? If they want to listen to something like, if they want to listen to like something polished, they can go to like some jerk on YouTube.
Yeah, that's where they pays people to polish this junk.
Yeah.
See what I did
Can you
there?
believe it? Can you believe NPR is still around? The quiet talking people.
Yeah, I know, right? So funny. All right, I just sent you that song I was telling you about. I just sent you the Trick Turner song. And I'm going to send you next the Silent Hill Downpour theme song. So, but all right, Dan, it has been awesome talking with you. Guys, stay tuned. I'm going to add some more stuff to the end of the show. A couple shout outs to some boys across the pond. So thank you so much, Dan, for coming on. Be sure to check out, guys, Indiegogo, Godfo. We'll put the links in the description. Dan will be around in the Discord, and he will be in the Facebook group. Give him some love. Send him pictures of your middle finger.
Tell me how awful I am. It's great.
Well, I mean, tell him how tough you are by writing it, not by
Yeah,
showing it.
there you go.
Thank you, Dan, so much for your time, brother, and hopefully I'll catch you again very soon.